Petit journal.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
On a même pas regardé les touches. Normalement, il n'y a pas de touche. Je vais le foutre.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Qu'est-ce qu'elle disait dans le livre?
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately. I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked.
Okay.
Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back. No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
Ah ouais, c'est sauvage. Hein.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
La baraque, quoi.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it. As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house. I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't.
Il y avait une de ces baraques.
I asked Edie once about the dragon in the pond. She said it had killed her husband. I was 6.
Je veux bien la
It
même.
seemed like an odd joke to me, even then.
Salut Binusco, ça va? Maintenant? Ah ouais. Rosinzo.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
De quoi, trop de choses à retenir? Pourquoi?
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home.
Et puis les dictatiels aussi, c'est
But
mal
instead
fait.
of a family, there were just memories of one.
Je suis pas fan des dictatiels quoi.
Like how after
Bon
Louis
jeu, t'es
started
obligé.
working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
Réserve. C'est quoi le jeu? Bah tu vas voir.
The table was still a wreck.
Le jeu, j'avais
when
bien
the
aimé à
night
sa
we
sortie.
left. My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
Non.
It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone
fantaisie,
but sparing the furniture.
T'as vu la maison dans quoi je suis rentré? Non. Oh, on peut pas courir par contre. Je sais pas si je vais pouvoir sortir par contre.
The power had been turned off the night we left.
J'ai le temps, je pourrais pas repasser. Mon frère il est mort, il y a eu accident, je sais plus trop comment. Et elle est revenue, et tout le monde a déménagé quand ça s'est passé quoi. Et elle est revenue, je sais plus trop pourquoi. Justement on va le savoir. Le jour de l'histoire quoi. Je me rappelle plus trop, hein. Il y a
Nothing in
trop
the
longtemps.
house looked abnormal. There was just too
On est
much
parti
of
comme
it,
ça quoi.
like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Et ces maisons qu'il avait, qu'ils avaient.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
Porte là.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Ça se vend en creusant des petits trous.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle
Elle
Walter's
défonce
room.
sa chambre.
I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Ouais.
Louis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now
Ouais,
it was time
les
to
trucs
find
là
out
c'est moi
what
qui
my
le fais hein,
mom had been
quand
afraid of.
je lève le truc, j'ouvre le cadenas et tout. Ouais, 2, 3, je sais plus comment ça se passe vraiment.
Reading this, maybe it
Tu défonces,
sounds
quoi.
like I had a plan, but I had no
Ah là c'est moi qui
idea
le lève,
what
tu
was
vois.
behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was
Il y a
gonna
des
lead.
énigmes ou quoi. La chambre de la tchotte je crois, ouais. Molly. En plus mon chat
I
il s'appelle
grew up
ainsi
looking
Molly.
at Molly's room through the peephole. Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom
Cool.
with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
C'est bien lui hein. Alors lâche-le, hop là. Ça s'est fermé.
Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
On se baisse. Qu'est-ce qu'elle a dit là avec son tableau? Des scorpions. Des scarabées. Grenouilles. Ouais, c'est ça, je crois. J'étais pas sûr, hein, je l'ai pas dit, mais ouais, je crois que c'est ça. Il faut faire maintenant, attends. Oh, des fourmis. Hmm. Elle a parlé d'un tableau, je ne sais pas quoi. Enceinte? Oh, que t'es enceinte. Ah. Ouais, c'est un ancien jeu. C'est plus trop.
December 13th,
2015, un
1947.
truc comme ça.
Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Je me suis réveillé affamé. Ça défonce. Un petit poisson rouge. C'est barré. La carotte.
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Elle est pas Ah, c'est vrai, elle avait pas mangé, elle va tout bouffer. Elle a bouffé la carotte de l'hamster, le pauvre. Elle a bouffé le poisson. Je le fais ou? Faim. J'ai faim.
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
Christophe. Christopher. Viens. T'as faim? Elle veut pas manger Christopher. Mais lâche-le. Ça ne mange pas. Il fait nuit là-dedans. Il fait nuit. Elle va manger là-dedans. Ah, du dentifrice, ah ouais.
I kept eating and eating.
On va tout bouffer, regarde. Hop. Tu les ans, hein.
I ate a lot of
Petite
things
boule.
that night.
C'est bon des petites boules. Non, non, y a rien à manger là-dedans. Une petite.
Then I heard chirping outside my window.
On a bouffé l'oiseau quand même. Elle a rien
It was
fait.
a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
Ah ouais, elle va se transformer ou je ne sais plus comment ça va se passer.
And suddenly, I was a cat.
Et alors?
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Chopé.
I jumped and I almost got her.
Sac trop vite.
I could tell
Je l'ai
she
eu.
was getting really tired.
Il est où? Mier. Il est agile.
Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
Où est-ce qu'elle a lapin? Je vois pas de bête. Là, bouge pas.
rabbits. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit.
Je l'ai avalé d'un
I
coup.
flew off to find something bigger.
On revient à un autre. Tu vois une petite biche? C'est de la nature, hein.
A mama rabbit.
Où est-ce qu'il y a un rabbit? Petit rabbit. C'est quoi là? Un rabbit. Je sais pas pourquoi elle a aussi faim.
I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating.
Elle doit laver les tourons.
And suddenly, I
Elle
was
lui
a
casse les
shark.
os pour que ça passe mieux. Eh, eh ben. Je suis pas dans la mer. Aïe. Je suis coincé, attends. Retourne à la mer. Vas-y Willy. Oh putain, je vais me faire écraser quoi.
And into the ocean. Now, I
Ouais.
was hungrier than ever.
Comment on descend? On peut pas descendre. Ils vont parler du travail de ses parents et tout. D'un coup, tu vas voir un truc comme ça va partir en couille. De ses frères. Une petite billette, on est parti d'un chat, d'un aigle ou d'un hibou, je sais pas. Un aigle. Ouais, bah c'est pareil. Oh, un phoque, je sais pas quoi là. Mais comment je descends? Je peux pas descendre si je peux pas descendre.
Juicy seals.
Bon, la manette pour l'instant. Wow. Le bouffle, il est où?
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Encore un? Un prédateur. Il se plante maintenant. Eh putain, viens l'auto. Une proie blessée, j'aime bien.
Grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes,
Quoi ça?
everything had changed.
Ah, je suis un serpent, un tentacule. Faire quoi? Ok.
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere. I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Ça va lui faire tout drôle là. Oui, je le tue lui. Bonjour.
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And to cross the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have. So I
Encore faim, hein.
swam towards it.
Voilà.
I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Chiotte. Toujours fermer la cuvette.
I got closer and closer. All of my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Ouais. Alors on a des
I'm
idées. Hein.
not sure if I believed all of that,
Oli.
but I'm sure Edie would have.
Elle avait 10 ans.
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors. I can't describe it, but I felt like some part of Molly was still here.
Cabane et tout. Ça défonce. Je vais passer par où maintenant? Je dois récupérer... Ah, on va errer.
This will be obvious later,
Ah, ils ont de ces
but
maisons.
my mom never told me any of these stories.
Oh, je la
Edie
rachète.
would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
Ah, mamie elle était
I
là.
spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Et cette nain.
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones. Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him. Her room was like a museum.
Là c'est le truc pour regarder des photos là.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune.
Comment on fait?
Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse his wife Ingeborg, and their newborn
Merde.
son.
Je vais pas
Johan.
faire ça.
On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a
Ouais, le
new
cimetière
Finch
il est
house.
derrière. Ok.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long
Odin.
ways.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Waouh, la moquette. Oh, putain, une moquette comme ça dans une salle de bain, laisse tomber. Ça doit être dégueulasse. On va nettoyer ça quoi. À chaque coup. Chaud hein.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Merde, hop.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
C'était planqué de ouf hein. Ah, faut pas semblant. Hein. Maison avec plein de planques comme ça, c'est de
Sven
défoncer.
gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Débat.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Allez hop là, un peu de balançoire.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom,
Tu pétais la jambe.
and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Attends.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I I told him going around was impossible.
2-3 saltos et...
Maybe if I hadn't said that.
I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe
Appelle au
if the
SAMU.
next time picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing. After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Wow, je veux le même.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Ouais, ça raccourcit ça, je crois. Je sais plus. On était là-bas. Vas-y, on va continuer. Ouais, c'était la star. La petite star. On ira après. Je peux plus. Ah si.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Par contre, je suis enceinte. Il dit c'est qui lui? Il est musclé ce gars-là. Quel
I
homme.
never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Ah, une lunette 3D. Attends, j'en ai vu, ça existe encore ça? Non, ouais, je suis enceinte. C'est le développeur ça, non? Le pauvre. Oh.
Of all the stories people
une
wrote
fortune,
about
ça.
Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child,
Moi, je me suis réveillé puis j'étais enceinte.
Barbara was famous
Je me suis réveillé dans les
for her
bois.
scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her
Avant
signature
d'arriver.
scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better.
Calmez,
I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara
C'est la
went to
cave.
look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Stylé de ouf. Les petites musiques. Ça me donne trop envie de jouer à 13
Found Rick's
quand je vois ça.
crutch and imagined the worst.
Doum, doum. Non, tu vas faire quoi, toi?
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Juste esquinte.
The old fridge rattled.
J'aurais bien voulu une suite de 13 ou un peu plus de jeux de ce style-là, quoi. Oh, ta gueule.
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
J'arrive. Je suis dans un film, là, je regarde. J'ai envie de le flyer, lui, il est où? Triste. Il veut m'assassiner.
Walter, are you there?
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Ils avaient pas besoin de jeux vidéo.
Barbara turned, saw
Ils
the
faisaient eux-mêmes.
hookman, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And he couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
Gente.
That night, she played her part beautifully. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges
Dans le dos. J'arrive. Roller. Cassé.
wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Je vais le finir. Viens là, je vais te finir toi. T'es où? Ah, Fumi s'est barré.
Had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was
Ah, ça m'attaque. Ça défonce. Comment tu dois bien dormir là-dedans? T'es bercé là.
someone at
J'arrive.
the door was dying to speak to young Barbara.
Un tue, je le tabasse.
At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Ouais, la même. Vous êtes trop bien.
Dear.
Ah, c'était une farce.
The monsters had come to surprise her.
Ouais, t'as quand même eu mal, non?
It was a dream come true.
Un cascadeur.
Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time.
Mais il est en
He
PLS.
took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Hop.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be
Barbara.
remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending. I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
2012.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs.
On va
on
aller
the
voir la
night
clé
left.
qu'on a vue justement. Ouais, la maison, toi. Il était accroché là. On voit pas la hauteur au plafond. La table elle défonce. Les maisons. La mer par là. La forêt par là. Oh. Je signe où? Bah, la mer c'est un lac.
It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key.
Barbecue. Elle pèle. C'est un billard et tout. Vraiment bien.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
C'est là qu'il a fait ce dragon.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
Transporter des caisses.
I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Ah le malin. Attends, je vais au frigo. Je ne vois plus.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone.
Il va trouver de l'or lui ou?
She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
Un petit bunker et tout. Ah ouais. Je me rappelle vite fait du bunker.
If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Le vélo pour faire du sport et tout. Il est vraiment tout petit mais il y a tout dedans. Un faux décor. Ah, il fait bon aujourd'hui, ça va. Les fleurs ils poussent. « 2005. Là pour se rappeler des villes d'avant quoi. Bonjour de France. Course médicale, la petite trousse merde. On dévié. Moi je veux bien, ça me dérange pas. Il y a un délire, je viens ici.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week.
Ah, à l'ancienne.
But after a few days, I settled into
La
a
musique elle
routine.
démonte.
That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow.
Il y a longtemps que j'ai mangé des pêches comme ça.
But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
« 1976.
Even a monster on the other side of a door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day,
Ça, ça me donne
everything
trop envie
just
de manger la salade de fruits. Ça fait trop longtemps que j'ai mangé ça aussi. Oh là là.
stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe you got tired of waiting.
2005. Il est resté
Or maybe
longtemps
I just
là-dedans,
got
il se fout de moi.
tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting.
30 ans.
I have to leave. Well, I still can.
Imagine que tu avais prévu une sortie de secours du bunker au cas où.
I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly
Molly, j'espère pas.
and Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Bravo.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
Vas-y, ferme-le. Hop.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
On va aller voir il y a quoi derrière le mur.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made.
Ah ouais, la poubelle. T'avais même pensé à la poubelle. C'est vrai que la poubelle, il faut y penser. Les déchets et tout, tu dois avoir, c'est hallucinant. En 30 ans, il y a eu que ça.
Bury something that's still alive.
Ah,
Now that
écrase
there's
aussi.
only one of us left, or maybe 2. I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real. I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of.
La maison de malade. C'est là-bas le cimetière, je crois.
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Une cabane, ça?
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness,
La balançoire, hein?
any of it seems possible.
Du coup, c'est vrai que t'as déjà été allé voir comme ça? Je pensais que c'était pas...
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it.
Ouais, on est habitué, c'est pour ça.
What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house? It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Coucou.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Wow.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
Pas sûr que je dois partir.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better. She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us.
Yeah.
We never found Milton's body, so my mom insisted we were putting up a monument, not a tombstone. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself. But looking back on it now, If she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
On le sent pas là.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
Merde, elle prend quand même des risques, hein, parce que bah, elle est enceinte, hein, ou... Ah ouais, c'était bien là. Ah, je sais pas trop s'il avait là-dessus, mais... Il avait fait des petits nids, avec du lait. Oula.
They were both pretty intense. Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Moi j'aime bien la chasse, mais quand tu chasses pour chasser, quoi. Pour chasser quand t'as faim, on va dire. Chasser comme ça, bon, c'est pas intéressant. C'est dégueulasse, quoi. T'es obligé de chasser pour que t'as faim, bon, c'est normal.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
La nature.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged.
Ouais, voilà, pour survivre. Ça, je trouve que bah, c'est normal, quoi. Pas dire que j'aime bien, mais ça me dérange pas. Mais ceux qui tuent pour n'importe quoi, bon,
What?
c'est un peu con quand même, quoi. C'est carrément débile. Comme les lions ou n'importe quelle bête, quoi.
It's too early,
Juste parce que,
Dad.
ouais, j'ai tué un lion. Bravo. T'es content? Il faut faire quoi, là? Faut le son aussi?
Okay.
Je comprends pas. Mais laisse-moi regarder. Le fou, les gars, ils tuent les bêtes et puis ils se posent pas de questions. C'est quand même ouf, hein. J'arrive là, hein, c'est chaud. Je trouve ça normal. Ouais, je sais pas qu'est-ce que je dois faire. Pionner. Je vois. Je t'ai eu. On a le fusil. Je vais le prendre en photo.
Right. Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? We'll never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit.
Please just take the damn picture.
Smile, Dawn. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
C'est où?
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
T'es en train de pisser.
Hey!
That's a keeper.
On l'a vu.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years.
Et où
Don, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph? Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere. I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time.
Dad!
Good eyes, Don. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Oula.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Don, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Don!
Une photo comme ça, faut y aller. T'es content?
I'm proud of you, Don. Always remember that, okay? Sorry, Don. Just gotta reset the timer.
Avec une grosse tiette. Ah, c'est moi qui avance. J'arrive.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Don. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Allez hop. Le karma.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
« 33 ans.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost
Je
a
me
lot.
dirais que la maison elle est maudite. C'est pas parti. Qu'elle a dit? Force.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Les grenouilles.
I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Vas-y, mets-le dans l'eau. Elle aime pas l'eau. On va faire quoi? Va te promener. Ah, c'est moi.
That's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie.
Il y en a qui est mort noyé.
Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like.
Allez, on se regroupe.
You reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was, he saw.
Ouais, il m'aide et tout. Ah, oh non, il m'aide pas du tout. Ah, je l'ai sauvé. C'est une balade, ça se retourne.
I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy.
Tout le monde.
Slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night, I wish you could have told us.
C'est pas fini. Oui.
About the world he saw.
Plus d'eau.
There's so much I don't understand. About Gregory.
Ah, mais puis Cho il s'est cru pour un poisson. Pas ça.
About everything. I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay.
Ah ouais.
Love, Sam.
Ça c'est le pire que tu peux avoir. Tu divorces après et tout et tout. Oh. Le coup de fil c'était un vieux gars qui voulait te payer une assurance. Qui voulait te... Je sais comment dire ça là. Les gars qui t'appellent tout le temps quand il faut pas. Oui, ça serait pour... Maman, ça va aller, ouais, ça m'intéresse pas. Alors reviens, tu vois ça. Putain, j'ai retrouvé le gars quoi.
For Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids.
Ouais, l'ascenseur, le...
Before the day
un
my
volant.
brother said with teenage disregard
Ah ouais,
that he'd
ça
be
fait un
dead
carnage
before
ce cloche,
he'd
je crois.
see a wedding in our yard.
Oh putain, je vais en tuer un, mais... Bougez là.
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may describe.
Au thème. Stylé de ouf.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Oh ta gueule. Pas le temps.
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
Beau ce poteau.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on
Franchement,
that
il y
day.
a quoi de se demander si le baraque
Out
elle est
there on the
hantée. Hein.
beach alone, just you, the
Elle
wind,
porte
the
à
sea
poisse
and
quoi.
foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Alors 1, 2, 3. Il nous reste que 3 personnes. Ça va. Cerf-volant.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Hop là. C'est maison. Celui qui me fait dessiner, je veux la même. Pas sûr que c'est par là, mais... Il va prendre cher, lui. Ah. Oh, ils étaient sur la lune. Hein. Ils ont posé le premier drapeau.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Pas trop sûr que je dois partir. Enfin, j'ai dû rater quelque chose là. Et on est ici. Ah d'accord.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
Un an plus tard. Ça peut pas te tuer, t'es enceinte.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again.
Jardin.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
Il est drôle.
And for a while,
L'école.
things were good. Almost normal.
T'as ça chez toi?
But it didn't last.
Oh.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
Il y a 1h30, t'étais à peu près quand t'arrivais quoi. J'avais fait quoi, 10 minutes? Un quart d'heure peut-être?
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Ah, ça se défonce. Fort. Dun, 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 dun. Je peux te dire qu'il y a du taf là. Je sais pas combien de temps que tu peux mettre pour faire un truc comme ça, mais des mois et des mois. Hein.
Milton disappeared. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
J'espère que je dois... Je sais pas qu'est-ce que je dois faire. Attends. Je suis parti trop tôt. Voilà, retourner en haut. Il n'y a rien d'autre en haut. L'ascenseur. C'est impossible que je l'ouvre celle-là.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Le gars il avait carrément un bateau lit, pas un bateau chambre. Et tu te mets là, t'as une vue de malade. Avec des petites balançoires et tout. Je me pose là. Ah, petit bang.
Louis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Non, 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 bah non. Où tu t'en vas? Ouh. Des petites musiques, d'ambiance. On a tout vu là. Oh, c'est quoi ça? Ils se mettent bien. Double PC, un clavier Logitech. Il y a quoi comme jeu lui? Ah, des petites bières. Ah, de foutu là. Attends, j'arrive. Je prends 2 minutes. Ouais, heureux. Hop. Et puis une musique. Mauvaise nouvelle?
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery.
Ah ouais. Oh.
But he withdrew part of himself.
Vous êtes trop les personnes.
In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to
J'arrive pas à l'attraper. Mais pas ta main. On va faire quoi?
Wonder.
Ah, c'est moi ça! Je me demandais c'était quoi? Ah oui, il était en train de penser ça pendant son travail et puis ouais.
He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth.
Trop dangereux.
He'd feel his way about. Then something moved.
Ah, tu y as cru.
Bats. And toads.
Alors, tu vois plus. Oh. C'est où?
Things that have not names.
On a attrapé
It was all in his head. But he took it very seriously.
Jamais.
I had hoped he'd find himself.
Bon, il va y passer.
He found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
Dégage. Tu veux me choper?
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
Tous ces villageois.
And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band.
Oh, c'est bizarre. Grosse ambiance.
He was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis.
Whoa.
He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on.
Elle a gueulé, elle. Accélère.
In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen.
Belle reine.
The queen was on her own quest for radiant rainbows. He followed the sound of her
Argent.
silver harp.
Ah.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
Ça y est, le jeu il a. Envahit son esprit. Là, je dois avancer aussi. Mais attends-moi!
He knew the world was all in his imagination.
Oh.
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Il a fini son travail, je pensais qu'il allait avoir un accident.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Louis, the cannery worker.
Il y a des rochettes dans l'eau. En noir ou disons? Ah, l'hygiène, ça doit pas être ça. Hein.
Despised the man with a royal contempt.
Il fait semblant. En train de rêver. Wesh. Faire quoi?
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder.
Ah ouais.
The palace would be packed with his companions.
Fini. Oh madame.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising me.
Me dire comment elle danse. Payez-le. Il a pas aimé bornier lui.
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
Cool.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Allez, il va. Ben.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
Bien. Avec une maison comme ça, c'est chou de rester là.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now was to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it?
À
The
l'entrée?
grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Hop.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Whoa.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories! I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
Ah ouais.
It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go!
Oh.
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
Ah ouais.
I never saw Great Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it.
Et dans
I
une
just
veine,
want
là.
to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess
On
if
va
you're
vers le
this
cœur, on
step,
dirait.
things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Ouais, ça défonce, ça c'est tous les développeurs, mais quand ils étaient jeunes. Ah, elle défonce quand même. Putain, ouais. Un paquet de clopes ou une Game Boy? Une Game Boy, putain, on dirait un paquet de clopes. Putain, il était vénère lui. « 2017. Ça change quoi? Bon, ça c'est sonné Edith. Attends, je regarde 2 secondes. Ouais, non, c'est exactement pareil. Et ça va changer quelque chose dans l'histoire ou non, je pense pas.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
Au même endroit. Oh, qu'est-ce que ça fait de... Ok. Bon, on va s'arrêter là.